The legend of Hawk's Hollow was one every boy in Whitford grew up with. It was said that a hidden treasure lay buried somewhere in the old, abandoned valley, left by the mysterious billionaire Victor Carmichael, who vanished without a trace over 50 years ago. Hawk's Hollow was a remote valley, covered in thick forests with steep rock walls surrounding it on all sides. Only a few had dared venture there, and even fewer had made it back, each one claiming strange things, unexplained noises, eerie lights, and whispers carried by the wind. Some said it was haunted, but none had ever found Carmichael's fortune. Despite the tales, there were 3 boys who couldn't resist the call of adventure: Noah, Jamie, and Lucas. They had grown up together, their bond strengthened by countless adventures through the forests, hills, and rivers of Whitford. Now, as young men on the brink of adulthood, they yearned for one last epic adventure before they all went their separate ways. "Noah," Jamie said one evening, after everyone else at the diner had cleared out, "you know we have to try, right? Hawk's Hollow is sitting there, waiting for someone brave enough to find that treasure." Noah hesitated. "It's not just about bravery, Jamie. What if those stories are true? People who went there, they never came back the same." Lucas rolled his eyes, leaning back in the booth with a smirk. "Are you seriously telling me you're scared of a bunch of old stories? I thought you were tougher than that." Noah glared back, but couldn't hide a grin. Lucas always knew how to push his buttons. "Fine," he said, finally giving in. "We'll go. But we do this carefully, no messing around. If we hear or see anything strange, we leave. Agreed?" "Agreed," Jamie and Lucas replied in unison. The next morning, armed with a map, flashlights, snacks, and determination, the 3 friends set off for Hawk's Hollow. The valley was located on the far side of an old trail that had long been abandoned, its entrance obscured by a mass of brambles and fallen trees. After hours of hiking, they finally found it, the entrance to Hawk's Hollow, a narrow passage between 2 massive boulders. The moment they stepped through, the atmosphere changed. The air felt denser, cooler. A strange stillness hung over the valley, as if the place itself had been waiting for them. "So, where do we start?" Jamie asked, pulling out the old map they had managed to get from Whitford's dusty archives. It had been part of an old hunting map that marked Hawk's Hollow, and on it someone had scrawled a small X in red ink near the north end of the valley. "There," Noah pointed, studying the map. "Looks like it's near those cliffs. We'll follow the path up and check it out." As they made their way deeper into the valley, they noticed odd things. Rocks were arranged in patterns that seemed too deliberate to be natural. Trees bent in strange shapes, almost forming arches over the narrow paths. And the wind, it seemed to carry faint whispers, as if voices from the past were trying to communicate something just beyond understanding. Lucas shrugged it off, trying to lighten the mood. "Maybe Victor Carmichael wanted to give us a puzzle. The guy was a billionaire. He probably loved making things complicated. Or maybe he wanted to make sure nobody found whatever he hid," Jamie added, his tone more serious. Hours passed as they searched the valley. The shadows grew long, and the air grew colder. Just when Noah was about to suggest turning back, Jamie spotted something unusual: a large stone at the base of the cliff, marked with a strange symbol, a hawk with outstretched wings. "This has to be it," Jamie whispered, excitement replacing his earlier nervousness. The 3 of them worked together, lifting the stone and moving it aside to reveal a narrow tunnel that led into the cliffside. They hesitated for a moment, each of them wondering what they might find within. But their curiosity overpowered their fear, and they pressed on, moving single file into the tunnel. The tunnel opened into a small chamber lit faintly by light seeping through cracks in the rock. There, in the center of the room, sat an iron chest, covered in dust and spider webs, as if it had been waiting for them for years. Noah's heart pounded as he and his friends approached it. Lucas knelt down, carefully wiping away the dust to reveal an inscription on the chest. To those who seek fortune, beware. Only those pure of heart shall leave this place unchanged. What do you think it means? Jamie asked, a hint of worry in his voice. Probably just Carmichael being dramatic, Lucas replied, though he didn't seem as confident as usual. Noah took a deep breath and opened the chest. Inside, they found a collection of gold coins, old documents, and an ornate key made of silver. Beneath the coins was a leather-bound journal, its cover cracked and worn with age. "What's this?" Noah said, picking up the journal and flipping it open. The first page read, "The Confessions of Victor Carmichael." Intrigued, they began to read, and as they did, a story began to unfold, one stranger and darker than they had imagined. Victor Carmichael had indeed hidden his fortune in Hawks Hollow, but it was not out of greed or a desire for legacy. He had done so to keep it away from the people he once trusted. The journal told of betrayal, deceit, and a plot against him by his closest friends, men who sought to take everything he had built. But Carmichael's story wasn't just one of vengeance. The journal recounted how he had also discovered something else in the valley, an ancient stone structure at the heart of the hollow. It was said to be sacred, built by a tribe that had vanished centuries before. According to Carmichael, this structure held a strange energy, something beyond human understanding. He believed it had the power to reveal a person's true intentions, their inner character. The final entry read, "To whoever finds this, remember, greed will not go unpunished. Protect the valley, and it will protect you. Use it for selfish gain, and it will take everything." The three friends exchanged uneasy glances. Lucas, who had always been the skeptic, looked particularly troubled. What if it's real?" Lucas whispered. "What if this place really does test people?" Jamie scoffed. "Come on, man. It's just an old legend. We found the treasure. That's what we came for. Let's take a few coins as souvenirs and get out of here." Noah, however, felt a strange reluctance. The words in the journal echoed in his mind, and the quiet of the valley seemed to press down on him. "I don't know, guys. Maybe we shouldn't take anything. If Carmichael wanted it hidden, maybe it's best we leave it that way." Lucas nodded slowly, his earlier bravado gone. "Yeah, maybe you're right. We found it. Isn't that enough?" Jamie hesitated, looking down at the gold. After a tense moment, he too agreed. They carefully replaced everything, closing the chest and moving the stone back over the tunnel entrance. As they left the chamber, a strange calm settled over them, as if the valley itself was at peace. The hike back felt different. The ominous atmosphere seemed to have lifted, and the whispers in the wind had quieted. By the time they reached the entrance of Hawks Hollow, the sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the valley. Before leaving, Noah turned back to the hollow, feeling a deep sense of respect for the place and the secrets it held. "Thanks, Victor," he murmured. "We'll keep your secret safe." The three friends returned to Whitford, and life resumed its usual rhythm. They never spoke of Hawks Hollow again, each of them silently agreeing to let the valley's mystery rest. And as the years went by, they found that their lives were filled with unexpected good fortune. They never knew if it was the valley's blessing or simply luck, but they never returned to test it. Years later, when Noah passed by the old diner, he overheard a group of kids talking about Hawks Hollow, debating whether or not to search for the treasure. He couldn't help but smile, recalling his own adventure with Jamie and Lucas. The legend of Hawks Hollow would live on, and its secrets would remain hidden, waiting for those daring enough to seek them, but wise enough to leave them undisturbed. The small town of Cedar Hill was known for its rolling green landscapes, dense forests, and the curious tales of hidden tunnels that spanned the land beneath it. For most people, the stories were nothing more than myths, legends passed down by elders and enhanced by overactive imaginations. But to three friends, these stories were a calling, a mystery begging to be solved. Ethan, Sam, and Leo had been best friends since grade school. Now in their early 20s, they worked different jobs, but met up each weekend, usually for a hike or some exploration around town. Over time, they had developed a shared fascination with the town's hidden history, collecting every bit of lore they could find about Cedar Hill's underground passages. Their obsession reached new heights when they discovered a reference to a hidden vault beneath Cedar Hill in an old newspaper from the 1800s. The article hinted at a structure sealed off long ago to preserve the town's legacy. For the three friends, this was more than a discovery. It was a challenge. They decided then and there to uncover the truth about the vault. It was a crisp Saturday morning when Ethan, Sam, and Leo set off for Cedar Hill's west side, where they believed the entrance to the tunnels might be located. The town's historical maps had shown an old building that once housed an ironworks factory, now reduced to a foundation and a few rusted metal beams hidden beneath the overgrown forest. "All right," said Ethan, unfolding a modern map beside the historical one. "If we're right, the entrance should be somewhere around here where the factory used to be." They split up and began combing the area, scanning for anything that looked like an entryway. After an hour of fruitless searching, Sam called out, his voice full of excitement. "Guys, I think I found something!" Ethan and Leo rushed over. Sam was crouched beside what looked like a large stone slab, mostly covered in dirt and leaves. Carved into the stone was a faint outline of a door, with a rusted iron ring set into the rock. "Looks like the door to a basement," Leo muttered. "But how are we supposed to open it?" Ethan tugged on the iron ring, gritting his teeth as he put his weight into it. With a loud metallic groan, the stone door shifted, and with Sam and Leo's help, they managed to pull it open. The air that wafted out was stale, carrying the scent of earth and rust. A set of stone steps led down into darkness. "Ready?" asked Ethan, flipping on his flashlight. Sam and Leo nodded, each switching on their own flashlights. They descended slowly, their footsteps echoing in the enclosed space. The staircase leveled off into a narrow corridor lined with stone bricks, leading deeper into the hill. "Do you think anyone's been down here recently?" Sam asked, his voice hushed as though the darkness itself demanded respect. "I doubt it," replied Leo, scanning the walls. "This place is ancient. Look at the mold on these bricks. It's been abandoned for ages." As they ventured further, the corridor branched off in different directions, forming a maze of tunnels. They decided to mark their path with chalk, drawing arrows on the walls so they wouldn't get lost. The deeper they went, the more they felt the weight of the earth above them, a heavy silence pressing in on all sides. After what felt like hours, they arrived at a large metal door set into the stone. Unlike the rest of the tunnels, the door appeared well-maintained, with an intricate pattern carved into its surface. In the center of the door was a keyhole shaped like a hexagon. "Did you bring it?" Sam asked, looking at Leo. Leo pulled a small hexagonal medallion from his pocket, which they had found in the ruins of the ironworks site weeks ago. It had seemed insignificant at first, but now they were convinced it was the key to the vault. He fit the medallion into the keyhole and twisted it. With a metallic click, the door creaked open, revealing a large chamber. Their flashlights illuminated rows of stone shelves, each filled with wooden boxes and metal chests. They approached the nearest chest, anticipation building in their chests. Ethan knelt down and opened it, revealing bundles of yellowed documents bound in leather. "These look like letters," he said, picking one up. "Records of trade transactions, inventories of goods. This stuff must be over 100 years old." Sam's flashlight landed on a large, sealed box at the back of the chamber. Unlike the others, this box was made of metal and padlocked shut. "Guys, I think this is the jackpot," he said, his voice full of excitement. Ethan found a crowbar among the tools scattered on the floor, likely left by workers long ago. With a few sharp tugs, he broke the padlock, and they lifted the lid of the metal box. Inside, they found a set of old, hand-drawn maps of Cedar Hill, each one marked with strange symbols. "What are these?" Leo asked, studying the maps. "I think," Ethan started, realization dawning on him. "These are maps of the other tunnels. Look, some of these symbols match locations we saw on the way in." One of the maps had a large X marked at a spot in the town's center. Next to it, in faded ink, was written, "The Heart of Cedar Hill." "Do you think there's another vault in the middle of town?" Sam asked, excitement mingling with unease. "It has to be something important," Ethan replied. "Why else would they mark it?" They packed up a few of the maps and sealed the chest. As they prepared to leave, Leo's flashlight caught something unusual in the corner of the room, a small metal box, different from the others. Curious, he opened it, revealing a handwritten letter folded carefully inside. He began to read aloud. "To those who find this place, know that you have unearthed the legacy of Cedar Hill. These tunnels and the vaults within them were built to preserve not gold or jewels, but the knowledge and history of our town. Protect it well, for it is a trust passed down from our ancestors. The heart of Cedar Hill lies beneath the church, hidden from sight, but open to those who seek it with true intention. In its depths lie the answers to our town's greatest mysteries." They looked at each other, understanding the weight of the responsibility they had stumbled upon. "Beneath the church?" Sam whispered, thinking of the old building in the town square that had been there for as long as he could remember. "Looks like we have one more mystery to solve," Ethan said, tucking the letter into his pocket. Back above ground, they made their way to the town's church under the cover of twilight. The place was empty, silent, but for the distant rustle of leaves and the call of an owl. They searched the basement of the church, tapping on walls and lifting floorboards, hoping for some clue to the hidden vault. It was Leo who found it, a loose stone at the base of the wall near the altar. Behind it, they discovered a hidden door leading down into another chamber. They descended carefully, their flashlights casting eerie shadows in the darkness. The chamber below was smaller, with walls covered in inscriptions detailing the history of Cedar Hill, the first settlers, their struggles, and their triumphs. At the far end of the room was a single plaque bearing a quote, "To know one's history is to honor one's future." "It's beautiful," Sam murmured, running his fingers over the inscriptions. Ethan turned to his friends, a sense of fulfillment settling over him. "We did it, guys. We found the true heart of Cedar Hill." They spent hours in the chamber, studying the inscriptions, absorbing the legacy of their town. By the time they left, dawn was breaking, casting golden light over Cedar Hill. As they emerged from the church, they felt a new sense of connection to the town, knowing they had uncovered a piece of its history that few would ever see. For the rest of their lives, Ethan, Sam, and Leo remained the guardians of Cedar Hill's secrets, carrying the weight of its history with pride. The tunnels, the maps, the stories, they became a part of who they were, a mystery that no longer needed solving, but simply honoring.